Hi everyone, and today we have another session of our DevConnect series. We go on with the BIM topic, and today we'll talk about OD BimNv SDK and standalone SDK for processing of Autodesk Navisworks files. So today, during today's session, we'll provide a quick introduction of the project itself. We'll go through the key points. We'll show some of the recent and important updates. And after the presentation part, we will switch to a live questions and answers session. Engineers from BimNv team are today with us and are ready and will be glad to answer your questions, so you can greet our engineers. So they're here, so do not postpone, do not wait. Ask your questions right here in the comments of this session, and thus we'll have more time to be better prepared. So do not hesitate, do not postpone. As soon as you come across some interesting, important for you information in the presentation, or probably you had some other questions beforehand, just ask them, we will answer them. So one more announcement to make. After this session started, there will be email notifications with a suggestion to book an individual session. Probably you do not wish to discuss something in public. In the email, in a follow-up email, there will be information on how to book an individual consulting with our engineers regarding the topics interesting for you. And now let's move on. So, a quick intro about our project. We started this work on this project in 2018, and this project targets to support the key Navisworks formats NWD, NWF, and NWC. We've got an increasing user base for this project, despite it's not among the oldest in ODA. And when talking about its organizational form, it's a special interoperability group. That means that the members of this group and users of this SDK are involved in discussions, in setting the development priorities, and etc., based on regular meetings with the team, providing the feedback, and etc. So, and let's enumerate some blocks and start with the data access. So, how you can access the data in the Navisworks models. And as we mentioned, there are three main formats: NWD, NWC, and NWF when we talk, and we are able to read them all and access data in those models. It may be geometry data, it may be materials, it may be scene parameters, and other data. It is available by ODE SDK. So, but when reading, most likely some of you face the situation when you have a password protected NWD file. What it means, first of all, as mentioned, it's an option of NWD only, but the thing is that for some reasons during the file exchange, some of the developers of the models wish to keep their intellectual property, and thus they introduce this password protection when a stream in an NWD file is encrypted with some password. So it's possible to create such file in Navisworks, and earlier we were not able to deal with such files and read the password protected streams, but recently we improved the situation, and now BimNv SDK of ODA is capable of reading such files and reading the password protected data. So let's see a demo. Let's see a demo of how this feature works. So at the first stage, we'll create a password protected file in the navisworks. We pick up some password and enter it, so encrypting a data stream in an NWD file. Okay, let's open the next video and show how we can open such an encrypted NWD file. First, we'll try an incorrect password to illustrate that it's an actual feature, and if the password doesn't match, nothing will happen and we won't be able to open it. But now if we open the password protected file and input the correct the correct password, it is successfully opened and we are able to access the data in such a file. So okay, let's move on further. Let's see that we are able to visualize password protected file. So let's get back to the presentation and another interesting information block, geodata. Navisworks allows to store location data inside the file. Usually this data is automatically converted from the original file, and typically it is a Revit file. So, and also we are able to access such data in NWD files by means of ODA BimNv API, and and we'll show you a demo right now of how we can do this. On the first project, you see NWD model opened in navisworks, and it has the location data which we can observe in the location window. Now we switch to another demo, and we can see that we can open the same model in our sample application ODA BimNv app, and the location data is obtained from the model directly, absolutely in the same way as it was presented in navisworks. So you can see it. That's it. We can move on further with the presentation. File options. So also we need to access additional data, and for instance, if you're working with navisworks, you're familiar that in navisworks user interface, in the file options button, dialog is shown with common file options, and usually it includes 6 tabs: culling, orientation, speed, highlight, scene light, and data tools. The data from 4 of these tabs are stored in separate internal streams inside an NWD file, and those are culling, speed, headlight, and data tools, and the other 2 items are spread along the other data streams. So culling tab is intended to store the option of geometry culling and represents the data from the internal culling element stream. Speed tab is intended for adjusting the frame rate speed to reduce the amount of dropout during navigation in navisworks. This setting is stored in the speed element internal stream. Headlight tab allows to change the intensity of the scene's ambient light and headlight for headlight mode. These settings are stored in the headlight element internal stream, and the Data Tools tab is used to create and manage links between the open navisworks file and external database. These settings are stored in DB database link element internal stream. And BimNv SDK has the possibility to extract all those options and the API to make them public. So let us have a look at a demo that illustrates this. On one screen will open simultaneously navisworks and OD BimNv app, and open the same model in both applications. And also in both applications we will open the file options dialog window. You see the one for navisworks, and we'll open the file options in OD Bim app. So there are not separate tabs but separate windows in OD BimNv app, but as you see, the actual values are the same. As for future plans, we are going to apply the frame rate from speed element settings while visualizing in OD BimNv app in our further releases. And you can see that if it's empty, we don't even have such a window, so there is nothing to show. So the data in both applications matches, and we can move on further. Quite often it happens that, and actually a common practice, that software solutions do not work with one particular format only, but usually you have to deal with multiple formats, and different formats have their specifics, but there is a need to work with different formats in a unified way, in unified approach. And for this in OD we've got our CDA approach that's called Common Data Access, and OD Common Data Access, it's a platform neutral network for accessing model structure and property information in a common way for all OD supported formats. As other SDKs from OD Toolkit, in the same way, BimNv SDK also has CDA implementation, and users can use NWD properties extension to obtain the object hierarchy and get properties. OD Viewer and OD BimNv app examples show this data in user interface, so you can see how this mechanism is actually implemented. Let's have a demo that show us how CDA is implemented for BimNv. So you can see the three different tabs with the element properties. And OD Viewer, we can see the same plot in this application. We can choose the model, navigate through the tree, select the element we need, and review its properties. Okay, as you see on the right tab, all the properties of the element that were read are available. Okay, without an additional slide, we'll show you another demo. The focal point of this demo is the performance and memory consumption. So let's have a look at this demo. The idea is that BimNv and navisworks models are federated models, and they may be quite of a big size. So the issues of performance and memory consumption are quite essential. So let us have a look at another demo. It's dedicated to performance, partial viewing, and memory limit. We'll open a huge model in OD BimNv app and we'll set the option to use the partial viewing mode and start the visualization. The visualization in the partial mode is prioritized and dependent on the view settings. So we already set as an example the memory limitation to 5 million of primitives, and as we can see, the frame rate has risen. It's 15 to 20 FPS on average. In the partial viewing mode with memory limitation, all the 3D objects outside of the frustum will be deleted. All the included objects will be visualized. These statements are valid for the area culling. And we can also switch to CPU occlusion culling to enable visualizing only the surfaces which are closer to us only. And in this case, the frame rate will look the same, but the balance of visualized and deleted objects will be much better. And it's possible also to switch to wireframe mode, and we'll be able to see that the most of the geometries here are very detailed shells. So the file loading and performance has also been improved, and our team has made several measurements. For example, reading time in partial loading decreases up to 43% compared, for instance, to 23.12 release, and the peak memory usage decreases to 50% on these examples. As you understand, for navisworks models, which are federated models, it's quite important. Now let's move on further, and we'll switch to visualize block, which was already involved partially. So when talking about BimNv visualization, BimNv supports not only 3D geometry, but 2D geometry as well. And 2D geometry is contained in the structures separated from 3D geometry structures. Let us have a demo example that will illustrate us a 2D visualization. We'll import an NWD file to OD viewer. Typically the file contains several sheets, and such files quite often have been made from DWF or PDF files. So as you see, we are able to switch between the loaded and visualized 2D views in the N and the navisworks files. One more video that is necessary to show, one more demo. It's the support of it's related to support of the point clouds. As already mentioned, navisworks files are federated models, and they may include data from various models and various formats. So, for instance, point clouds may be also a part of navisworks models, and BimNv SDK provides access to external point cloud geometry. Such geometry can be embedded to the NWD file, or can be just located on the external directory on disk. Let us have a look on how. We will open an NWD file with embedded RCS data in navisworks first. And you can see how this looks like. And we can open the same navisworks files in our ODA visualize viewer example, but we'll need to enable the recap checkbox. And we can see the same point cloud data as well. Okay, one more important feature that is important when it deals with visualization is grids. Grids and levels help users to observe a scene and give context to your location. A grid is a set of lines where the intersections of the lines are the grid points. BimNv SDK supports the access to grids and levels data. We've got a demo dedicated to grids as well. We'll show it right now. First, open a file sample that contains grids and levels in navisworks. So we'll always refer navisworks to show and to compare. You can see the grids. And now let's open the same model in ODA visualize viewer. And don't forget to set the import grid checkbox. Let's change the background for better appearance. And you can see this model with the grids. We can rotate, for instance, to view, to analyze the model. So we can actually do everything we've done in navisworks. So let's move on further and sections. It's also available in BimNv for 3D models, and the sectioning is a tool that allows users to look inside a 3D object. I think it's familiar for you, and it can have two modes when we talk about BimNv SDK: planes and boxes. Planes mode allows the user to make up to 6 sectional cuts in any plane, and box mode enables the user to focus the review on specific and limited areas of the model. BimNv SDK, as I said, supports both, and let us have a closer look on how sections work in a demo. So we open the file with sections in ODA BimNv app and visualize it. We already see that it is sectioned. We can switch off the sectioning and switch it on again. So do anything we need with sectioning. Next, as already mentioned, being a federated model, Navisworks models are quite often used for cooperative work to gather feedback, to interact with other stakeholders, and thus tools like Redlines are quite essential. Redlines is the markup tool that enables the user to mark up viewpoints and clash results, for instance, with markup annotations. And there are several types of such markups: line, ellipse, cloud, text, tag, and arrow. And BimNv supports all of them, and let's look at it at a demo example. So the file with the Redlines, user can import to the ODE Visualize viewer by setting the checkbox Import Saved Use, and click Markups and select the needed markup, and here they are, the Redlines, as you see, the information that was probably marked by other persons involved in the development. And one more task that a federated model should help to do is to give an impression of how the accomplished object will look like, and for this purpose animation may be of a great help. And Navisworks provides a possibility to animate models. For example, a user can animate how a car moves on the road, or crane moves around the construction site. Objects can be moved and rotated. Animation items are described by keyframes. Camera can be animated as well. The result of animation may be saved to the output file. And BimNv SDK from ODE supports animation and provides an API to get all the animation data. So the same, it's possible to see how all these items, animation items, were implemented. And let us have a look at the video example with the animation. So this will demonstrate the animation feature, and first again in Navisworks we can click Start, and here animation consists of two parts. One of them is camera animation, and the second one is the moving car object which leaves the parking lot. Meanwhile, the camera flies over the parking lot. This file is already saved with the name Museum Cool, and we are able to open this file in ODE Visualize viewer. Visualize splits the screen in two parts, as you see. The first part schematically shows the camera viewpoint. The second part is a view from the camera. And if we click the animation, select animation set checkbox and set camera checkbox to let it take a part in the process, and click the play button. Now we can see that the camera is flying over the parking lot. The car leaves the parking lot, makes 3 turns. So the key idea is that the animation saved in an NWD file works in ODE Visualize viewer in the same way as in Navisworks itself. And one more area to mention: export to other formats. As you understand, exporting to another format is required for different tasks and solutions. So we need to share the view of the model. Different requirements may cause the need to make export from NWD. And when we talk about the Navisworks models in ODE, there are 2 options of how we can export data. First, we can do it through Visualize, And the second option is the direct export. When we talk about exporting through Visualize, so we do in the following way. We use the existing NW to Visualize module that allows us to export the navisworks data to our internal VSFX format, and then after this we can use the existing Visualize to DWG, Visualize to PDF, and other available modules to export the data from VSFX to the target format. But it is also possible to perform the direct export from the navisworks, from BimNv database to some other target format. And in the demo example, we will show you how it works. So first we'll open an NWD file in a Visualize viewer and we'll export it to DWG. As you understand, this illustrates the first option of exporting through Visualize. When we imported navisworks model to ODA viewer, we exported the data from BimNv database to VSFX, and after this now we are exporting it to DWG, and we can open the resulting DWG in the same viewer and see that we get the visually at least the same results. So please note that BimNv SDK has an example named NWD2DWG, which has been created as an example to show how to convert NWD to DWG without user interface application. And BimNv SDK users can use this example to create their own converters from NWD or NWC files to other formats through BimNv SDK and Visualize SDK. Next, we can have a look at how it is possible to export the data directly, and for this we'll use another demo that will open ODA BimNv app. So here you see again a model loaded in ODA BimNv app, but in this case we do not have this intermediate data export from BimNv database to Visualize database, and we export the geometry data to Collada directly without intermediate conversions to Visualize database. Let's wait a little bit until the conversion is completed. And now we can, for instance, open the resulting Collada file in a third-party viewer. As you see, again, visually we've got the same results and the geometry was exported correctly. Okay, now let's move on, and the final part of our presentation, the creation. The last but not least block dedicated to our creation capabilities in BimNv SDK, because as most likely is expected that it's necessary not only to read or visualize the data, but it's necessary to be able to create data in this format. And let's have a demo showing what creation capabilities we have by now. So first of all, we need to mention the create dummy nwd command, which is available, and you can get a preview of this. And this we are able to create a new nwd file with this example. And as far as you can see, the sections were created. We are able to disable them. Now we can see a small house, and we can show the grids. As you see, we can see them, circle, a line, and if looking at the hierarchical tree, we can see that layer and group were created. The attribute Autodesk material with advanced texture is also here. Hyperlink override attribute is also here. Geometry and property override attributes were also created. The transformation matrix is also set. Saved viewpoints and also set with a simple hierarchy. Selection set was created with the hierarchy as well, and the lighting objects were added. 5 lights were created. We're able to switch between them. So all this is available. You can investigate this example on your own, customize according to your needs. As you understand, it's quite a good starting point if you need to work with the creation. One more thing that we should mention, as we showed earlier, when we showed earlier that BimNv file formats can be converted, and the data from those formats may be exported to other CAD formats, we need also to say that the reverse order is also possible. It's possible to take RVT, IFC or DWG model and export data and save it as NWD file. So, and the best way is to use the intermediate, again, ODE visualize database. So first importing the data from the RVT, IFC or DWG file to visualize database, and then exporting data from visualize database to NWD. So, and let's have a look at the demo example that illustrates this possibility. It will use DWG to NWD example to convert to export data from DWG to NWD format, and it uses the Visualize SDK for the conversion to export the data through intermediate Visualize database. The file has been created, and we're able to open it in navisworks, apply full render mode. We can see that the file was converted successfully. So that's it. Similar capabilities are available for other formats, for other stuff. So it's possible to do the same thing. Originally take another model, say of IFC format, and save it as NWD. So all this is available. The examples are available for you. You can try it, customize to your requirements. And that's it about the presentation part. Now we will switch to the questions and answers session. As far as I can see, there are also already some questions asked, and also do not hesitate to address additional questions right now. We will be glad to provide answers. Also, please pay attention and do not forget that you will get a follow-up email with the description on how to set up individual meeting in case you require one, so, or in case you just wish to discuss something not in public but just face-to-face with ODA engineers. As for the record of this DevConnect session, later on it will be available on our YouTube channel. And well, if getting to the basic questions that are usually asked, to become a member of SIG group, you will need to have at least sustaining membership. But okay, let's start our questions and answers session. The team lead of BimNv team will join. So the first question, I think usually is related to the pricing stuff, and as I said, the minimal requirement for joining special interoperability group is to be a sustaining member, and additionally you will need a membership in the BimNv group. So it will, if talking about the prices, so the first year fee for sustaining is $6,250, and the price for BimNv is $5,000 per year, if I'm not mistaken. So similar to BimRv. Okay, so let's move to the first question asked. And can we use BimNv libraries to open Revit files and append it into NWD federated model directly without converting to Revit to NWC and WD explicitly? So Ivan, please go ahead with this question.
Hello everybody, and Alexander, as I thought, you already talked about this possibility in the section named export, and at this moment user can open a Revit file with BimRv SDK, convert it to ODA Visualize database using Visualize SDK as an intermediate file format, and convert it to NWD using BimNv SDK. If user wants to append new data into existing NWD file, he can open existing NWD file with BimNv SDK and append new data using the procedure I described earlier. Also, my user can want to convert Revit data to the navisworks entities without Visualize, but at this moment, in this case, he should implement the converter manually.
Okay, thank you. The next question: is there any API which will be used to view file in browser? File, I guess it's navisworks file.
Yes, it's possible. User should use Visualize SDK, BimNv SDK, and view the file with in-web. So
okay, thank you. Just for those who probably overlooked, in web is our technology that allows to work with different models in browser. It's also an SDK, so it will be your full control of how to work with it, how to deploy it. It's not a SaaS solution bound to ODA or whatever. So, and the mechanism of working and visualizing the data in browser, as Ivan said, is approximately the same as for the desktop with Visualize. So on the back end, the original model is converted to Visualize database, and this Visualize database is actually visualized by means of JavaScript library on the client side. So that's simply speaking how it's happening. Okay, any other questions? So we hope that there are not that many questions because everything is clear. But anyway, if for some reason, as I said, if for some reason you do not wish to discuss your topics in public manner, just set up an individual meeting. The follow-up email will contain the necessary instructions. You can choose the time slot convenient for you, and it will be possible to discuss in more details. A common question regarding the platforms supported by the SDK. Usually for all SDKs this question is asked. Ivan, probably a short comment regarding the platforms supported.
Well, we have support of Windows, macOS, Linux platforms, including x86 processors and ARM, the processor. So, and as you said before, we can visualize in the web how else.
Okay. So I don't know if there are no other questions. Probably we can wrap up for today. If some ideas occur to you later on also, please do not hesitate to address us, any channel convenient for you. So looks no additional questions. Then thank you everyone for your time today, and goodbye. We'll be waiting for your follow-up questions, emails, and individual meetings. Goodbye.